Okay, came out here today, even though we got snow on the ground. Might as well go ahead and do it while the foliage is still down. And we're just tracking down some of these more large series of abandoned coal drift mines that are up here on these high ridges. And because once this foliage comes back up, it'll be near impossible to come find these things. So even though there's snow on the ground, we'll just see what we can find up here way in the backwoods. So, all right. And right here where all these trees are, that's actually a tramway line. It's hard to actually see that. So, okay. Okay, we reversed course, came back down along this tramway bed. And this is another section of just a huge drift mine complex. And pretty beautiful out here this morning. A little cold with the snow, but this is one of the ones we're going to check out. You can see by that stacked rock wall, that was a pretty sizable mine opening up by that tree. So, and back deeper down in that ravine, there's more. And if we get the chance, we may go up over the ridge line down to another series, but nice and peaceful out here. Very quiet. Okay, that one mine we checked out, Mr. Box checked it out, and it was a no-go, so we're advancing over another ridge line here. And this is just how steep the topography is up here. And you can see how high that ridge line is. That's over 700 feet. And we've still got to go to the top. We're almost at the top up here, but just to give you an idea of the rough terrain out here, and just think 120 plus years ago, surveyors came out here, engineers, deep into these backwoods on horseback with a lot of supplies for like a month, and they'd spend about a month out here, you know, surveying, doing a lot of geological surveys to find the coal seams, and then they'd mark it. The company would eventually buy the land. They'd send teams up here to start clearing out the timber, laying the tramway tracks, maybe building a mining camp. And then they'd start working on the drift mines, or in some cases a slope mine. But anyway, it's desolate out here. It's nice and quiet. But we're going to be heading up this way to a next series of mines.
Yeah, it's going to be such a tight squeeze. So I'm going to go check.
All right. So we dropped down into this other ravine and coming to another series of mines, and Mr. Box has gone down into that mine opening right there, and you can see the steam coming out. So we're at the bottom of this high ridge line right here. So he's going to give a situation report here in a minute. Okay, we dropped down into this mine right here. The opening is back that way. Had to wait a little while because it's so cold out. You know, all your cameras and video equipment, they just get fogged up. I mean, equipment's so cold, as soon as you bring it into a mine, it just fogs up. So you have to sit here for quite a few minutes. But Mr. Box is down here. He's going to take some pictures of this really cool intact tramway line going into the coal seam with some wooden supports. And halfway down there is section of rail. And this is a good 4-foot coal seam right here. So this mine, it's easily 120 years old. So, but anyway, it's nice and warm in here. I tell you, it makes you want to stay in here and not go outside. You know, So it's fogging up a little bit here. But anyway, Mr. Box discovered this, and he went on down in here and did some bird dogging, and it was worth coming down here to see. So,
Yeah, show them the opening that you have to come in.
Yeah, I popped back out right there. Yeah, rope required.
That's a tough one.
So, okay. Okay, this is one of these little side adits, and you can still see the timber. And they put wedging in there on the top to support the timber. It's still in place after like 120 years. So this thing's something minor. 120 years ago, crawled in there, got all that coal out, put that little roof support up for the timbers. And here's your little section of tramway rail, still intact, and right back there is a total collapse, but there is a left added. It's got the rails there, but little piece of coal mining history right here. All right. Okay, you're gonna kind of get down on your stomach to just look into this adit right here, this little header, and you can actually see the tramway rails. They're still intact, and because some guy had to be back in there basically on his hands and knees, had to carve out that coal, put up those wooden supports, wedge them in, and then somehow with those little flat, shallow draft mining carts, just kind of roll the coal into the little mining cart and actually push it out. But that's how they did it back then. I have no idea. But it took some gizzard to do this. But anyway, it's amazing there's still, that those wooden timber supports are basically about 120 years old, and they're still in place. So, okay. Great find. You can get a better view of the tracks right there. And see the rest of the mine right there, it's collapsed. And got some more little adits right there. But anyway, fantastic. There's Mr. Box.
This is cool, man.
Yeah, it's just incredible how they got that rail in there. So. Okay, we came out of that mine, hiked some more through the woods, and this is one of the last ones we were going to check out in this series. And you can see how big that drift mine opening would have been right there.
Show me a comparison.
Yeah, you see Mr. Box up there? I bet this opening was probably 10 feet high.
Yeah.
I mean, just tremendous how big this thing was. But this is one of the ones, the main ones we wanted to check out right here. You just don't know until you come out here in the woods if you find any that are open. But this goes back about 120 years. So, all right, and we gotta make our way back out of this hollow and up to the top of the ridge line. Okay, we're making our way back out on this tramway bed, getting ready to head up over the ridge line. And this wasn't even on the planned tour, but we think there is a drift mine, which would make sense straight ahead because this is the tramway bed, and you have this big black mass up here. Yeah, it's a drift mine.
It is, yeah.
We didn't expect this one. So let's see. And it looks open.
see.
All right. So let's see what we can find out here. Okay, Mr. Box is down there. See, that's where the mine cart rails were. Got some kind of animal path right there. And there it is, man. That's wide open.
Oh man.
We did not expect this, but we're not gonna let this chance pass us by here. So we were heading up the ridge. Now I guess we're gonna head under it. So this is, we weren't expecting this. So wasn't on our maps, let's put it that way. Okay, we just dropped down in the hole into this mine. It was very unexpected. You can still see remains of a piece of timber support there. And you got two different ways to go. Mr. Box is checking this out. And we don't see the coal seam yet, but the passageway keeps heading down this way. So looks pretty wide open where Mr. Box is going, but this is very unexpected. We weren't expecting to come across another mine. So anyway, this one's about 120 years old too. So okay, we'll do a little more exploring. Okay, just what Mr. Box is way up there checking the passageway. And here's the coasting. We got a mad bat right there. He's not too happy we're in here. But it's one of these little adits right here. As you can see, still got a piece of wooden timber support. Now you can see whenever this mine was abandoned, probably sometime 1915, maybe even earlier, all this sediment has washed in here, so it covers up half the coal seam. So, all right, we'll reverse course and head back down that other passageway. Okay, we got a little bit better headroom in this one. There's some airflow coming from somewhere, and you can see some of the timber supports right there. That looks like a man-made wall. That looks like they'd mined this first and they went to the left where you're at.
Yeah.
Just like in some of those other mines we've seen. So, all right, man. Who knows when the last time somebody was in here. Well, it keeps going.
How's the headroom?
It's a little low right here, and then it gets high again just because some of this fallen shale.
Yeah.
But you get a better look of the coal seam there. So there's wooden timber supports down there.
Oh wow.
So, all right. When you come into something like this, you do have to be mindful, especially in the winter months, that there could be some four-legged creatures down here keeping warm. So, have to be aware for that. Okay, got some of the minecart cross ties right here, and you got some of this cribbing right here. Goes into this little adit, this little header. You can see they put the wedges right there. Coal seems a little more definitive, maybe 3 feet.
Yeah.
But it keeps going. So we'll just see what we'll see where this leads, man. You had a split right there.
Is that a stacked wall up there to your left?
Yeah, can't really tell, but there's a wooden support right here. Part of that's giving way, and it keeps going.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Alright, Mr. Box is taking the lead here. And you can see these timber supports right there, still in place after 120 years. And minecart cross ties still in place. So, all right. Okay, we pop that glow stick right there because we're entering a right header. So, got the stacked rock wall right there. And got the cross ties. More wooden timber supports right here. And that's a narrow one. They just had that just high enough for the coal seam right there. So. You can see they stack that.
Move over this.
Alright, Mr. Box is doing some wedge work right there. So keep going.
It looks like, yeah.
Alright. Okay, that was a no-go on that header, that passageway right there. So we're going to make our way back on out to the original starting point. Old mine. Alright. And that's the way we got to go back out. I don't know where this airflow's coming from, but it's pretty good. So, all right, Mr. Box is coming around the corner.
Move on to the next.
Okay, so we just came out of the mine, and you see that's where the tramway was, where the mine carts came out of the mine, and it's still snow on the ground, but the sun's up, and we're going to be going up and over the ridge line and back to our original starting point. Okay, this is the first one we've seen today outside. Mr. Box saw this. This is a section of minecart tramway rail, early 1900s. Real thin, you can see. It's been sitting here a long time. Look at the trees growing up around it. But anyway, just another neat little find. All right. Okay, so we've been making our way out of these series of high ridge lines way up here in the back country. We got to be at least 2.5, 3 miles deep in the woods. And but anyway, this is the first time we've seen connected with a lot of the mines we've been looking at today, the remains of a powder house. So this is just, you can see, just up there, one of the old drift mines is there, and right down there that's sealed. And but this is the remains of a powder house, and just a little bitty powder house. And you can see where they had it one time. They had a wood nailed up against the side, and probably had a little steel door probably. And who knows? It could have been 4 or 5 more feet higher, but just abandoned up here in the woods back in the going back to the early 1900s. So great find. We just stumbled across it. That's it. We didn't even know it was here. So anyway, just add this to another little piece of mining history we've been looking at today. So. Okay, we're making our way back on out, but one of the things we were checking out was some of these mines, when they went back so deep, you know, for airflow, that in these deep drift mines, they had air shafts. So Mr. Box, I deployed the rope, and Mr. Box went down there. Hey, there he is, man. He can do it, and he said the air is just like a wind tunnel down there, so it connects deep inside with some of these mines. But you'll find these up here in the woods, and we're way in the back country up here. There's nobody for miles. But anyway, that's why you go prepared and have rope and everything else. So, but he's gone down there. He's checking it out. So
I mean, it would be a belly crawl the entire way.
All right. So, okay, we've arrived back at our starting point in this hollow here, and we've hiked over 2 steep ridge lines, following some of the old tramway lines and everything. And this was one of the mines that we had checked out right here. Mr. Box went down in it, and fortunately it was collapsed. You can see at one time that was a big mine opening, huge. So anyway, we're going to be making our way back on out of the woods. We got about another 3/4 of a mile to go. So
did we check that one out?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, beautiful day.